Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark, the Super Life Vest Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay, the man in the grey suit Cluett. And this is Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, where we talk about Deep Blue Sea adjacent films now that we've covered the entire Deep Blue Sea trilogy, one chapter at a time. What is a Deep Blue Sea adjacent film? What is a film directed by Rennie Harlin, or featuring lots of aquatic action, or featuring sharks, which is the case with today's episode, this month's episode. It's another new release. It's the Reef Stalked. What is the Reef Stalked? Well, it is a sequel to 2010's The Reef, both directed by Andrew Traucki. And it's a sequel in name only, no real connection to that first one other than it's about some people who get lost at sea with a shark, as happens here when four friends go out on a semi-party, semi-memorial trip, and their canoes get scuppered a little bit, and there's a shark, and hilarity ensues. So that's the Reef Stalked. Because this is a very new film, it's literally not out yet as we're talking about it. We're not going to go full spoilers, but there is a scene right at the front that we absolutely have to discuss, which also there was a trigger warning for domestic abuse in this film. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But I would, before we get into it, I don't know about you, Mark, I would suggest watching this film. I had a good time with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's well made. It's different. What I like too is with his prior films, Traucki's prior films, you had Blackwater. And then one of the characters, she finds out that she's pregnant. And then in Blackwater, what was the other one? They're in a cave. Blackwater Abyss?
Yes.
We also find out that she's pregnant, but then it's by another guy. And then there's like all these relationship dramas. And then in Great White recently, the main character, Katrina Bowden, was pregnant. And you have all these relationship troubles. And Sharkbait, you have a friend who's with a boyfriend, but then he cheated on her with her best friend. So there's this weird drama going on involving all of these sort of romantic entanglements. And then this one, it's so refreshing because it's just four friends on a kayaking trip. Like they cut out it's different. It's a different shark movie. And I just like that they cut out a lot of the relationship drama, if that makes sense. Like it's become a weird trope in direct to DVD streaming shark films, right? Like, so I really dug it. I think the performers were all good. The director knows what he's doing. They didn't shoot on stages. I know they only had 45 angles, degrees to work. So they but they kept it on the water, on location, good locations. The actors are committed. It's fun. It's good.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. There is some relationship drama, but it feels much more realistic and less kind of soap opera-esque than Sharkbait, which we talked about recently. It was hard not to draw comparisons between this and that. Also, the posters are identical.
Yeah,
to both of them.
Gigantic sharks.
Huge shark, ocean tilted at 45 degrees, main character just in front of the shark looking back at it about to be eaten, basically.
Yeah. You're done. Life is over.
Yeah. But I would say this is much better than Sharkbait in many, many ways. But yeah, so if you're interested and you want to watch the film, I would suggest pausing the show here because the opening scene was a big surprise to both of us. And I want to kind of keep that for the listeners who want to watch that. So please, by all means, you should come back and listen to the rest of this show once you have watched the film, which you should. But if you're still with us, let's kind of get the opening scene out of the way, Mark. Because we have four friends who are out diving.
I'm not laughing because
it's not a funny scene.
Funny, but I remember watching it and going, "Did that just happen?"
You messaged me after it happened.
Yeah, but that's good though. I mean, shark movies normally never have any. And listen, when I laugh, it's because things are terrible. That's kind of like the way I process it. But watching this scene, you're what?
Yeah. So there's four friends. Two of them are sisters. The other two are, I think, a couple who are out diving and swimming, etc., having fun in the ocean. And they kind of
spearfishing.
Yeah, spearfishing. And they kind of return, and there seems to be a bit of one of them has the sister of one of the two sisters has an issue with her boyfriend, her partner, who seems a little bit abusive. But they kind of, there's a distant argument. They go away. Then the other sister, Nick, played by Teressa Liane, she gets a message that says, please come. And so she heads over there. And it turns out that her boyfriend has killed her. He has drowned her in the bathtub. And this is just way more real than I was expecting any shark movie to ever go. It hits hard and early. And it's so effective. And it sets up the rest of the film. But it's done so well. Where like you get this kind of, you can once she approaches the house and you like the Greg who's the boyfriend, he's got like a scratch on his face and there's water in the hallway and there's clearly signs of a struggle has happened. You kind of get that knot in your stomach, like I think I know what's going to have happened here, but I just kind of hope that it hasn't. And she's drowned in the bathtub. And
9 months later.
Yeah, cut to 9 months later. Yeah.
Listen, I'm still a little weird. In my notes, I have it circled with about 18 exclamation points because, you had a sense that something was wrong. I mean, you meet Greg, played by Tim Ross, who's wearing a chambray shirt on his photo here on IMDb. That doesn't make you good or bad. I don't know why I said that, but he's just
it's just a fact. It is what it is.
He's just one of those jerks yelling at his sister, and it sets up this Nick's sister's death sets up this really interesting dynamic between her and her other sister Annie, where she lost one sister with water. She doesn't want to lose her other sister, but then she doesn't really know her sister, but her sister's different from her, but she's still wildly scarred and like driven with PTSD, which is what the director really wanted, like Andrew Traucki. And he also said, like, by calling the shark the man in the green suit, he wanted to deal with stalking. You have a dangerous man to begin with Greg, and then you also have this new great white shark who kind of represents another element of stalking and danger, threatening her other sister. And you're just like, give Nick a break. Nick is tired.
Yeah, this is. I felt we've covered a fair few shark films on here. This feels like the one where the shark means the most. It's like the shark is tight is a literal metaphor.
Yeah,
a literal metaphor, is that a thing?
It literally means that it's a metaphor.
Yeah, like in Shark in Venice, that wasn't the case.
No,
sharks are just sharks.
I mean, even Reef, right? The shark is just kind of like a specter, a hunter, a presence.
Yeah, and the Reef, I think, might be the film we've covered that I kind of enjoyed the least out of all of these films, where it's just
a lot of floating.
It's a lot of floating, but it's so kind of self-serious and sincere, which I get. Sometimes that's the kind of film you want. It's not the kind of film I wanted. I wanted a Deep Blue Sea film. I wanted a fun film. And the Reef Stalked, which is an awkward title to say. It doesn't really flow. Yeah. Like the Reef Stalked, you have to put that clear pause in there.
The Reef Stalked.
Yeah, it just kind of flows together.
The Reef Stalked.
It's ending with an F is the problem. It's difficult to then go into another word. Anyway, this is slightly more fun than the Reef domestic abuse side.
You like the characters.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get to. Yeah,
like outside of all right, I know I brought this up earlier, and it's a weird thing to harp on, but like Great White, you have this whole subplot with one of the characters. She's pregnant, she's on the water. You're like, yes, it's that dangerous. When you're on a life raft with a great white near you, you don't need to add more elements to it. Like shark bait, you have the cheating subplot, and you're just like, why? Like, you don't need this drama on top of like, Quint wasn't cheating on Brody like in Jaws,
no,
right?
They cut that out.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know why these recent crop of crocodile shark movies kind of add these on, like that movie Rogue. I love it. Australian crocodile film by Graham McLean. Like, no one has that drama. They're just people being attacked by a large crocodile.
Well,
so it's nice.
Cruel is like, she's trying to get over. She's not as good a swimmer as she wants to be. That's it. That's all she's got. The rest of it is just, oh, bloody hell, there's alligators down here.
And like a nice father-daughter story too between BPEP and Kaya, like something different that we've seen. And so these four people, when they go out, like, listen, Annie and Nick, they don't know each other. Nick's like that hardcore older sister that's a total jerk to the younger one. Like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, like, I'm different than you. Like, it's cool.
Well,
Chill out.
And she disappeared 9 months ago. Her sister died, and then she just left because she couldn't deal with it. Which I get. That is a reaction people have. But then Annie, Saskia Archer, she was left behind with her mother, and the police trial, and both hers and her mother's depressions to deal with. Whereas Nick just went and travelled the world and got away from it. I can understand both of those viewpoints. These are real characters, so I care about them both.
Yeah, and just hearing Nick go to Annie, "Are you okay? Do you need a break?" Like, just like leave her alone. And so those are the dynamics, though, like family dynamics, where they both don't really know each other. They've both grown up in that 9 months, and so that's the biggest extent.
Annie's going to have grown up a lot in those 9 months. Like 9 months ago when Nick left, I don't know how old Annie's supposed to be in this, but she's drinking alcohol when they meet up again. So maybe 21, or maybe they're just having fun. I don't know. No judgment. But those 9 months with her big sister going, her other big sister dying, and her having to care for her mother, she's going to have aged mentally several years. So I can understand Nick babying her. I can understand Annie getting annoyed with that. But then she's thrilled that she made an apple pie.
You baked? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was she was really shocked about that. Maybe that's an older sibling thing.
Maybe.
Like, my brother walked into my house and goes, "I can't believe you own something so nice." Like, I feel like that's like an older sibling thing. Or maybe but
yeah, my sister's never said that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Never mind. But yeah, it's I like that. I mean, and this is for better or worse. I mean, these four go out. They're not the party hounds from Sharkbait.
Yeah.
They're
characters that you don't hate immediately.
They're not totally unlikable like the Sharkbaiters. They seem like real people about to go on a real trip. They're chill. They're kind of having some drinks. They're hanging out. There's no gross one. There's no jockey one, if that makes sense.
No, they're all just nice, having fun. Because the whole point of the mission of the trip is they're taking Kath's. It's not really her ashes. They're just like taking her memory, like a little trinket box of a photo and her necklace, out to these islands. I think they're in Greece, these Greek islands, which is like, it's always her dream to go there. So they're going there as like a tribute to her, which is nice. I really like that as a plot driver.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Whereas in Shark Bay, it's like, hey, let's get pissed and go out and steal some jet skis. Yeah, we deserve to die.
Yeah, these are just like, hey, we're nice people, and but I gotta say it. All right, so in the Reef, one survivor who is just wailing, Jay. I mean, just been through the ringer. In Blackwater, one survivor who is in a boat with her dead sister after a crocodile attack. In Blackwater Abyss, there are 2 survivors. And in this one, I guess I won't say, but just in case of spoilers, but it's nice having a low body count and not just like I feel like lives mean something in this. Wait, whoa. Lives mean something in this movie, Jay.
Wow.
Think about it. Like, every death is mourned. It's not, oh, Hank's dead. That's fine.
And there's a kind of more minor character who is attacked later in the film, well, halfway through the film. I'm not going to say it. A child gets attacked by a shark in this film.
Yeah.
When the child gets attacked by a shark, I was flabbergasted. Like, what film are we watching here? We've had death of what appears to be a main character in the opening minutes of the film, and then a child being like thrashed around in the water.
Eat it, Deep Blue Sea.
This was more shocking than Russell's death in Deep Blue Sea. But when that child is injured, that becomes the whole driving force of the second half of the film. Is we need to like save this child. I need to go on this little other mission to help them. So yeah, lives definitely mean something in this film.
And it's interesting watching Nick and Annie fight. Annie's like, "We got to go," and Nick's like, "We got to think this through." Yeah, the child will be dead if we think this through. So they both have a point, but they have to move, so it's going to make less than ideal conditions. Which, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting plot. It keeps moving forward. I do think it's very dour once again, but I don't know where you interject the hue. Like in Sharkbait, that one could have been more Piranha-esque.
Yes,
because
that one should have been more Piranha-esque.
because you have just loaded spring breakers ramping each other on jet skis.
Yeah, that's like that but when you have characters that you hate or you don't like, it's okay if they're a bit callous and a bit throwing some humor into it. That maybe might warm you up to them. Here, these are realistic characters in a tense situation, so you don't want to chuck as many jokes into it.
I mean, I guess that's for better or worse, right? Because it's either you watch this and you fall asleep, or you watch it and you actually appreciate that it's something different. So I think they're taking a little bit of a gamble by going so grounded with this film, if that makes sense. I mean, do you think that's going to hurt them in the long run?
I think it might do. I mean, there are some early reviews out for this film that aren't overly positive, which I think is maybe people who wanted something a bit more fun, like I did. And this isn't necessarily a scary film. It's tense. There's some decent jump scares. Some of them are kind of fake out jump scares, which are a little frustrating. Or it's like musical sting, but it's a person, and it was clearly a person the whole time, but they're still going to try and do a jump scare. But there's some scenes where like Annie's up on a boat on her own, whilst the others are diving, and there's just kind of tense music, and she's not sure what she's doing, and what's going to happen. But then everything is kind of fine in that scene.
Yeah.
This isn't a big like shark's going to kill you, a gore fest or a big horror film. It's more of a tense drama that happens to have sharks in it.
Yeah, I think he wanted to focus more on PTSD and like spousal abuse and stalking and that kind of element. And it's interesting that they made just an innocent shark metaphor for that, because I mean the shark's just being a shark.
Well, they do play with that and say like the shark's being vindictive. They kind of bill it as like the Shallows shark, where it's like this shark's being a dick. It's gonna keep coming for us. It's just playing with us at this point.
And that's a great point. Yeah, it's just going to keep stalking us. And, you know, this isn't that type of movies like The Shallows either, where that shark is just ludicrous, Jay. Beautifully ludicrous. Like, it's the jerk of all jerk sharks. And it's just, and you can kind of have fun with it because it's so comically large and just such a jerk. So, I mean, if you make this one, you know, if this shark's smoking cigarettes and like snapping its fingers and just being a total brat, that wouldn't fit either with the tone.
It just bobs up and it's flipping a coin up and down in the distance.
No Country for Old Men. It has that cow killer thing. Watch out, that shark has a knife.
Wait, what? How?
Just do it. Yeah, it's kind of no point, right? There's no part of that. And I mean, the shark doesn't even pop up till 29 minutes, and the first kill isn't until about 30, 32. Yeah. So, and then that's it. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. That's it. So it's interesting. I give this movie credit because after sitting through Great White, sitting through Shark Bait, which should have clicked every like one of my favorite things on the planet.
It's sharks and jet skis.
Yeah, exactly.
So disappointing.
This one lets, and also too, you know, I know the Reef, I know Blackwater. This guy, also I know what Blackwater Abyss. The director, he does not like to. There's not much comedic elements to his films. So I guess since I was already familiar with his movies, that I wasn't expecting The Meg. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, I do think maybe I was expecting a little bit more, but I mean, this guy's had people floating in the ocean. He's had people stuck in trees, people stuck in caves. So he can't just put other people in the water. He's got to add another element. And so the kayaking feels quite organic to the story. And also he referenced open water, which he said is more, he's like, yeah, it's a shark movie, but it's more of like a relationship drama between those two. So yeah, he tackled this. He actually uses a lot of just B-roll of actual sharks or crocodiles that he goes out and films. So he has his own style of creature feature, which made me possibly understand this movie more than most people would.
Yeah, I mean that. I'm not sure what to add to that.
Yeah.
You kind of summed it up.
Yeah, great point, Mark. I just handed it over to you with like nothing left to say. So this is everything. Jay, what do you think?
I agree.
2 + 2 is 4. Jay?
Yep, you on the money there, Mark.
Yeah, first time tonight. But I do think this movie, okay, I started thinking to myself, this movie lacks joy. But then I thought, where would that joy fit in? This is not, like, I don't want to watch low budget Piranha on kayaks.
No.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, something like Piranha 3D needs a budget, needs a bigger cast, needs like a more comedic actors. Like the 4 main actresses here, they're all good.
Yeah.
No problems with any of them. But they're not playing their funny bones, shall we say. And nor should they be. It's a serious situation. This
isn't Bridesmaids.
No, absolutely. Although that would be a fun sequel, I think.
Okay, Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids.
Two live.
Bridesmaids with sharks.
2 live in Bridesmaids. Who lives? Which 2 characters would live if those women went out on kayaks?
Okay.
Which 2?
I think Maya Rudolph is going to make it. 'Cause I feel like it's going to be the mission of every other character in there that the bride has to survive. So they're all going to throw themselves at the sharks just so she makes it to the end to get to her wedding. Also, I love Maya Rudolph, so she has to make it to the end. And
Helen would kill Annie.
Is Helen Rose Byrne? Okay, I've seen Bridesmaids once, a long time ago. So I'm trying to. I feel like yes, Helen would throw, or at least Helen would maybe try and throw Annie. Might then slip and fail herself.
They would be jockeying for space and then trying to get next to, and then they both fall out and get waxed, which would leave Wendy McClendon, Covey, Rita, Becca, Ellie Kemper, and Megan, Melissa McCarthy. Those 3 left.
As much as I love Ellie Kemper and
Wendy McClendon, Covey.
Yes. I feel like those 2 would be the fodder of the Bridesmaids shark film. So they would be like the first 2 to go. Because they're both great. Especially Ellie Kemper, who is just phenomenal in The Office. I love her character in The Office.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it might then be, if 2 have to survive, it might then be Melissa McCarthy who makes it to the end.
She'd have a gun.
Yeah, she absolutely would have a gun. She's essentially Maya Rudolph's bodyguard. At the end, just taking out any shark. Like, there's sharks and piranha and all kinds of things leaping at her, and she's shooting them all down every direction.
Yeah, so those 2 would walk out alive.
Yeah,
I like that.
I feel like Melissa McCarthy's going to carry Maya Rudolph out.
Oh yeah, she's a tank in that movie, Megan. She'll be fine. But yeah, this is I gotta say, it's a very so imagine you're an independent financier and you're working with someone, you're like, yeah, shark movie. And then the director's like, I want to make this an intimate drama between sisters. And you're like, wait, what? But I mean, like she wants to save her other sister, even though there's 2 things I want to ask you about. The life vest in this movie. So Annie's life vest, a great white gets a hold of her. And Nick, to her credit, jumps in to save her.
Yep.
But Annie has no blood drawn, much blood drawn.
She is attacked by a shark and is left entirely unscathed.
That would be such a bummer.
Not the take I was expecting.
No, listen, if I'm attacked by a shark, I want that one girl at the end has scars. I want that. Nothing permanent, no nerve damage or bones or veins, nothing moved around. No 6 days in the hospital, but I definitely want a tooth stuck in me. Like, you know what I mean?
I'll take a limp for a couple of weeks. I'll be okay with that.
Like the shark hits you with its tail and just sort of dislocates, gives you a Charlie horse.
But like it gives me a scar, but the scar, the worst kind of scenario is I'm just limping for a little bit.
Yeah.
When it gets really cold, some winters, I can feel it still. That kind of thing.
And you make sure people hear it. Like, what's wrong, Jay? Oh, my shark bite scar.
This story again. Every winter he brings it out. Every Christmas.
If I survive a great white attack, I want a scar. And I apologize to everyone who has ever been attacked by a shark. Maybe I'm being incredibly insensitive, and I apologize. I'm not trying to be. And I probably would be happy if I didn't have a scar. But just, yeah, I got attacked by a great white. Oh, yeah, what happened? Well, it just bit my life vest and, like, dragged me underwater. Like, oh.
No.
Any cuts?
Sure it was a great white?
Yeah. Was it a trout?
Not like a seahorse?
Yeah. Was it a grouper? Well, no, groupers could do some damage. Was it
just
an
like
ill-tempered
a big rock?
Yeah. Were you not just skiing and you fell over?
Was it a kid swimming with a shark fin stuck to his back?
Exactly, yeah. Like, no one's gonna ever believe Annie. Ever. So, I'm happy that you... Like, listen, that would have cost money, Jay, to have blood and scars for the rest of the movie. And bandages. So I get it. That's a lot of work. But, you know what, though? In shark bait, they really went out of their way for sunburn.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
These characters weren't very sunburned. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's not always that sunny. It's quite overcast. When I was going through looking at the how blue it is, like it's sunny some of the time, but it's not always sunny. In Philadelphia or anywhere.
While kayaking.
So I mean, also they're swimming for quite a bit of it, and not a lot of time takes place over the course of the film. They say it's a 3-day paddle, which no, thank you. Just like no, they're paddling to this 4-star resort for 3 days, and yeah, there's islands along the way to camp at, but no, ridiculous. I think all of this is actually within the same day. I don't think we get night in this because they
take off to go to lunch.
Yeah, they're going to camp at the. They say they're going to stop at the island for lunch. Yeah, and then the second half of the film happens with the child.
So I guess they wouldn't get too fried, but there'd still be some redness.
Yeah.
But okay, another question. Why do Jody and Nick take off and leave Annie and Lisa in the ocean? They're like, oh, we'll go first.
Oh yeah, they say they're gonna, because they're the two strongest paddlers. So I think they say they're gonna head to the island to start making lunch, and then Annie and Lisa will just take their time and meet them there, and then lunch will be ready when they get back.
What?
That's what they say, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Oh no, I get it. But it's like, just wait here. Okay, so I'll just wait here. Like,
but it's not wait. It's like you come back in your own time because Nick and Jody can just go faster.
But they were going so slow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Annie just kind of hangs back for ages.
Yeah.
Drops her paddle.
Yeah, it's like we got to separate these people, and that kind of like, why would Annie want to stay out on the ocean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's getting into. She's been getting more into the diving. It's Nick who has the phobia or the PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is just to separate them, I guess. But they could have had something like, oh, I dropped my whatever. It's floating over there. I'm just gonna like paddle back and get it. Would have been more realistic, I guess. But...
And doesn't Lisa dive as well? So maybe Lisa would be like, hey, I wanted to stay for some spearfishing. Annie, can you stay and watch my kayak?
I did like how they kind of tie into, yes, this is definitely a reef film because we're going to stop and dive down to this reef for 2 minutes.
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah.
And it's definitely isn't a standalone different film. It's a sequel to that other film.
We need a reef in the reef. That was in like the producer's notes. We need a reef.
And, like the film is 93 minutes long, so without that reef it was 80. They just added that reef in just to make it feature length.
That's my one issue where I was kind of like, wait, why are they hanging back? But I guess it's just so blatantly to separate them. That's the one inorganic thing, because it's not like Jody took off booking it to land. They were both sauntering. Maybe they just wanted to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, why is Jim offering the shark a cigarette? Kind of thing. Like, so it can bite his arm off. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it has to happen.
Yeah.
One line.
There's
I know they
did
it, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems one line. Like, hey, we're going to go cook. You can hang out here. Okay. Oh, cool.
Or like, we're going to go start the fire. You catch us some fish. would have worked
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Oh, because Nick doesn't want to jump in, so Jody's like, I'll go do this. Lisa, do you mind?
Yeah.
Lisa, Annie, do you mind? Whoa! We're better writers than these people.
Okay. Calm down.
No, we're not. I was being I hate when people are like, this is how you make... there's YouTube channels that get millions of views going, this is how you make the movie, but this is what they should have done.
This is a list of all the problems with this film.
I bet you Matt Reeves is like, thanks for making the Batman better. I appreciate it. That would be kind of interesting. But also, too, I do like the way that they get these people on the water. I mean, they are just going to go island to island. It's a friend reunion. They're away from where the tragedy happened. They had to travel, reunite the sisters.
Yeah, surprise reunion, yeah.
I mean, I suppose Nick or Jody or Lisa could have asked, like, hey, are you cool around water? Like, does that make
good?
sense?
We haven't seen you. Well, they say like it's been difficult to get hold of Nick.
Oh, you're so pretentious, too. Well, that's what happens when you're in rural India.
Yeah, that's the story she dines out on all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if I hadn't have been in India for those 9 months, yeah, okay.
I've been backpacking around Nepal. So. Okay.
I became a world wrestling champion. I'm serving you up some non-heaters today. But yeah, I guess they didn't get a hold of her. But I mean, maybe she thinks that this trip will be good for her.
Yeah, and she knew that they were going there to go out paddling, so she knew it was a water-based activity trip.
True.
So it was on her to decide if she was up for it. And it was only the diving that she wasn't okay with. She was absolutely fine with paddling. And then it's only when I feel like when they have to take that kind of rickety boat for the second half, it's more that Annie's getting in, and she might lose Annie as well. That is the problem, yeah. I think.
Yeah, and I guess she kind of becomes kind of hard because she doesn't want. She's like, yeah, the girl might die, but my sister lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stone cold, Nick. Nick, dude, Teressa in this movie, she looks depressed through this whole thing, and that's a credit to her performance. But she is very. I never got, like someone said this is IGN said it's like Lifetime meets sci-fi shark movie, which I disagree. But I didn't sense a lot of melodrama in this. Like Great White has melodrama. This one does not.
Do you think we're maybe being more positive on this because we have watched Sharkbait quite recently, which is a lot worse?
Okay, listen, I think that this movie's dourness is going to hurt it. And it makes me wonder why they decided to make this film. But it has a reason for why, and it makes sense to me logic-wise, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think this is but also, let's look at it like this, Jay. This is a direct-to-streaming, low-budget shark movie. And so, I don't like, you know what, though? I don't like the sci-fi movies because they don't even try to be good. Like, they're not like, we're going to make a good movie and it turns out bad. They're like, we're just going to make a bad movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I wrote this script in 40 minutes on a piece of toilet paper, and that's our script. Like, this one, I think, it's a little too serious. There's some bad VFX.
There's one particular bad VFX.
Yeah, people just keep falling out of boats, and which would happen. But
I've fallen out of the boat before. It happens.
Exactly, without being attacked by a shark.
I've fallen out of a truck that wasn't moving before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, this movie, fundamentally, I'm amazed it got made. But I do think it has everything in it, whether it's the performances, the lack of humor, the relationships, it has a reason to exist. And so that's why I appreciate it. Like, they tried something different, and it makes sense to my brain. Do you know what I mean? This is and the performances are good. I mean, Jody is definitely a non-character, but this is more of a story of sisters.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it's still
they give Jody the kind of the alpha. She's leading the mission kind of quality, but that's kind of about it. And Lisa similarly has less to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a story about Nick and Annie for the main part. But yeah, it's not a film I can see myself coming back to repeatedly.
No,
because it's missing that, like, yeah, that bit was awesome kind of scene.
She keeps getting her head dunked in the water, and then she sees her sister being choked, which she wasn't there for. She's just visualizing it, and it's like, I guess tying the whole thing of a stalker and abuse to, like, put that onto a metaphor of a shark. That's kind of a brave choice.
Yeah, it's a little clunky.
Yeah.
I would say there's not a direct line connecting the two, but if you kind of sit down and think about it, you can make the parallel.
Like, if the Islanders were like, see that shark's a jerk. Like, it kills other sharks and it's just mean. And then it stalks them. It's like,
let's see that shark. That shark's Greg.
Yeah. Like, I feel like Men, where she tries to go on a trip and can't get away from him, is much more successful in its venture, even though they're two totally different films.
I wish
A24.
I wish Men was Deep Blue Sea adjacent in some way. That would be a fun film to talk about.
Let's see. Oh, man, let's see.
Good luck.
Rose. No, wait, no. Let's see. English. I mean, it's Under Siege. She gets sieged at the end. She's in a facility, right? She's kind of in a prison in that home. She can't really leave the town, so she's stuck there.
I think this is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to help you out here.
We've got plenty of other films we can talk about.
Let's see. There's a vehicle crashes.
I think Annihilation is more Deep Blue Sea adjacent than Men. If we're sticking with Alex Garland.
Crocodile. Yeah. I mean, listen, any movie with it. The surprise deaths. Plant people.
Yeah, it's the bit in Deep Blue Sea where Saffron Burrows turns into plants. Yeah.
Patrick Wilson with a mustache.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all tie. Yeah, but no, I mean, listen, this movie's not a barnstormer, but at least, I'm not trying to sound like, oh, you're so cute, like, oh, bless your heart. Like, I'm not trying to sound like that. At least it has it has control over what it's doing, I think, and it executes the story well. For the most part. I mean, it does seem like the shark footage, just them shoving a camera under the water, like, get it, get that great white, get that great white. But I would still rather see that than a VFX shark that in one scene's 40 feet, and another scene's 12 feet.
Yes, and the only really bad CGI shot is a very, very fast attack on the boat from a shark that's under the water. That is genuinely laughable because I laughed at it.
Yeah.
But other than that, the effects in this are decent, I would say. It's just that one shot.
That shark blows up like a wooden pontoon.
Yes, it does.
And then for the rest of the film, when people reach their arms out of the water, the shark's like, oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, it does follow very wonky logic, but I can't hate it. I can't. I'm not going to watch it a lot, but, yeah, it sounds so backhanded what I'm saying. But it's
we enjoyed watching it. I think is the most we can say. Like,
do something different. This movie did something different in the realm of shark films, and I appreciate it for that. Like, I feel like this director really has, with Blackwater and The Reef, made an interesting niche for himself in more grounded survival horror. Like, these aren't creature features; these are survival horror films.
Yeah, I like it. We're not being paid to say nice things about this film. Like I said, I prefer this to The Reef. I prefer just to Shark Bait. There are certainly worse shark films out there. It's not as fun as Shark in Venice, but it's better made.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's well made, and it has a reason to get the people on the water, which I like. I mean, I think a lot of movies just don't have that. Like we were talking about Shark Bait. It was, Spring Break Partiers. Yeah, I do like 47 Meters Down. It's because she's out there because of a breakup. She's with her friend. They go on a ramshackle cage. That makes sense.
Yeah, she's trying to prove that she's fun.
Yeah. 47 meters down, they get in there because, or wait, not uncaged.
Uncaged.
They get in the caves, yeah, because their dad works it. So, I mean, that makes sense for teenagers to go bust into. So it holds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how is the Reef stalked like Deep Blue Sea?
Oh, gosh.
Not many ways, I'll be honest with you. One of the shorter lists. So they spear a fish at one point, and so the Carter spears a shark. There's 4 friends in the introduction, in the opening scene, having fun. There's a surprise early death. There's a shark. There's CGI blood in the water. That people are knocked in the water from an undersea attack, which is the pontoon. There's shark POV. Birds are eating in one scene. And Anne Truong, who plays Jodie, is in the Romper Stomper TV show. And Jacqueline McKenzie is in the Romper Stomper film.
So, you know.
Yeah. Playing different characters, I think. But that's about as all I could do in terms of the comparisons, because they are quite different films, it turns out. But how deep and how blue is it? Now, as everyone knows, Deep Blue Sea, about 31% blue and 14.5 meters deep. Do you think the Reef stalked is deeper and or bluer?
No. At deepness, it's probably, I mean, they're on rafts. They're walking for a bit. There's no planes that I can think of. It's mostly ground-based. So what? Not even a meter. Half a meter?
It's basically surface level. It's 17 centimeters or half a foot up in the air in the end, because of like the amount of time they spend on land and then everything on the surface. There's a few bits under the water, a few little diving scenes and shots of the shark, but for the most part, it's on the surface. It's actually basically exactly the same depth-wise as shark bait. Like
wow.
there is 0.04. Yeah, there's like less than 4 centimeters difference.
Oh my gosh.
So that means it's deeper than orca, less deep than shark bait. In terms of depth and blueness, it is bluer than Deep Blue Sea. It is 56.72% blue compared to 31% for Deep Blue Sea, which means it is less blue. Sorry, it's bluer than 47 meters down uncaged, less blue than Aquaman. On the wonderful chart.
Stuff you learned.
Compared to the Reef, it is a lot less blue than the Reef. The Reef is still our second bluest film at 73%.
Wow.
And it is about the same depth-wise. The Reef is also a very surface-based film. Yeah, so that's the Reef stalked. It's out there for streaming. By the time this show comes out, it'll be out streaming various places, so you can find it if you want to watch it. We would recommend it. But Mark, do you have anything to plug?
Last question.
Yes.
Real quick. Just do it real fast. Top of your head.
Okay.
4 characters from all the movies we talked about on DPS that you would love to have on these kayaks. Just throw the first ones out. Like just do it.
Willem Dafoe from Aquaman. I can't remember his name. Lane Smith from Prison. Kelly Brook from Piranha 3D. And fourth one. I'm gonna say Mrs. Gummer from Tremors. I can't remember her first name.
Oh, Reba McEntire?
Yeah, Reba McEntire from Tremors.
I'll go Erica Christensen from Swim Fan.
Of course.
I'll take Brendan Gleeson from Lake Placid. Let's see. I will take Robert Carlyle from Ravenous.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. I can do this fast. Let's take Juno from The Descent.
Okay. I'm going to just add a 5th character of Delroy Lindo from Congo.
Yeah. The Sesame Cake. And then I'll add Tim Curry.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'll toss Kelly Brook in there. We'll have a whole gang.
Yeah, that works fine. Nice. Okay, what have you got to plug?
It's Movies, Films, and Flicks. Movies, Films on FLIX. Rate, review, subscribe. Listen to Con Air, the podcast. Go to moviesfilmsandflicks.com and then check out my stuff at all the other places.
Very nice. Yep, Con Air, the podcast is weekly, covering Con Air chapter by chapter, scene by scene. We're having a very fun time over there, giving that the same treatment that we gave TPC. You can listen to me once a month, hosting Lampardy over on the Lambcast feed.
Hey, can I say what happened on the last Lampardy yet?
Yes, you can.
I won.
Well, that wasn't the last one. There's been one since then.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I won my episode, which
Well,
is
do you want to know
crazy.
what happened on the one after that one?
What happened?
I won.
Yo, you did tell me that.
I got to
be going
play and I
against each
won.
other.
So, yeah. So, yes, we both move forward to the next round. We might be against each other in the next game. Although, a friend of the show, Todd, guest hosted the round that I was a competitor on, and he wasn't a big fan of your playing style of picking questions from all around the board all the time. So I think he would rather not host a game that you're playing. But we'll see how the scheduling works.
Wait,
out.
Todd, Forgotten Films?
Todd Liebernow, Forgotten Films, friend of the show. Great guy. He was the Lampity Champity from 2021. So he guest hosted.
Oh, so he's hating on my picking.
he was more relieved that you weren't on that show. He wasn't hating on it, but he was like, that would have been a nightmare to host, given it was his
I'm going to do that to him.
We'll see. He might not be hosting the show that you're on. We'll see how it goes. But if he is, then yes, by all means.
Nick Rehack, friend of the pod, said it was very stressful listen, me playing Lamperty.
I've heard that elsewhere as well. It was a stressful hosting as well.
You wouldn't let me let it ride on one of them.
Well, I was trying to give other people a chance because I knew you'd get it right.
Mark, no. My let it ride record was good. I let it ride on something I didn't even think I knew about.
Well, I mean, that's just how you play the game, isn't it? That's how you live life.
That's
I feel
right.
like. So yeah. So Lamperty, always a fun time over on the Lamcast. My personal site is lifeversusfilm.com. And if you have a movie blog or podcast and want to join a big community of like-minded folks, then come and join the LAM, largeassmovieblogs.com. It is the large association of movie blogs. Come join us. And come back next month for another new film. I don't know if there's sharks in this one or not. I haven't watched it yet. Netflix film, The Sea Beast. It'll be our first animated film that we've got.
Wow.
But we're sticking with the new stuff. Not forever. We're going to go back to some of the classic, some of the Brenny Harlan stuff soon, but we're sticking out on the water for The Sea Beast next month. But as for this month, as for the Reef Stalked, I have been Jake Lewitt.
And I'm Mark Hoffmeyer.
And we'll Deep Blue see you next month.